Mike Norris, who pitched the shutout last week against Toronto, after staggering through the better part of the second half of the season.
So Billy giving him a sign, slow him down. I've been out in this situation. You want to get the game over with.
Rounded to first. This should do it. Spencer to Norris covering, and Mike goes all the way. And on home runs by Gross and Murphy, the Oakland A's take the first game of the Western Division Series, winning it by a score of 4-0 as Norris takes care of Dennis Leonard and the Royals.
Game 2 in Kansas City on Wednesday. Tony Armas with a fly ball to right. Misjudged by Clint Hurdle. Drops for a double. A's take a 1-0 lead. Royals tie it in the 5th, but then Armas' 4th hit of the game drives in the winning run in the 8th inning. A bullet through the legs of George Brett. Steve McCaddy goes all the way. A's take a 2-0 lead in the series and wrap it up tonight in Game 3. Alameda County Coliseum, a crowd of 35,000 to 40,000 expected here tonight for Game 3 of the American League Western Division Series. Ray Martin, manager of the Oakland A's, they look for a sweep. On the right, the starting pitcher Rick Langford for Oakland. Larry Gura for Kansas City. We'll be back in a minute. Kansas City batting order tonight, no changes. Wilson, White, and Brett. Akins, Otis, and McRae. Hurdle, Wathen, and Washington. Same lineup all 3 games for Dick Hauser's Kansas City Royals. Rick Langford has completed his warm-up pitches, and we're ready to get things underway at Oakland with Willie Wilson to lead things off. Wilson 2 for 9 in the 2 games. The switch hitter with a lot of speed. And here we go. Looks at a strike. 0-1 to count. In on the grass at third, natural surface here in Oakland as opposed to the artificial surface in Kansas City. Fouled away at the count 0-2. But of course we have to bring up at the outset, Jim, is that this game is being played in the twilight, of obvious benefit to the pitchers.
Exactly, and Rick Langford's not overpowering, but he's a fine pitcher. 18 complete games this year, ERA just under 3, 2.99, and he's not overpowering at all. All he does is throw some sliders. He has a slow curveball. He turns his fastball over. You won't see him throw a fastball the same speed all afternoon or twilight or evening, at least early evening.
2-2 pitch, hit right back to Langford for the out. That's the way things have been going for Kansas City. You could almost see the frustration written on the face of Willie Wilson. Hit it right on the money, but right into Langford's glove.
Well, it's a high breaking ball, and Willie hits it hard, but Langford, I think, went 232 times without an error. It did make an error from April of 1977 till October of 1980. So, as any good pitcher, he feels his position well.
The A's defensively, the infield of Moore, McKay, Stanley, and Clutch. The outfield intact, of course, Henderson, Murphy, and Armas. Heath doing the catching, and Langford on the mound as Frank White takes outside. Ball 1-0. An extra smattering of boos for White, of course, because of his remarks about Mike Norris the other day, contending that when Norris went all the way to beat Kansas City on Tuesday in Game 1, all he threw was slop.
Well, I think when he was referring to slop, he was referring to a screwball, and that's Mike Norris's best pitch. Langford throws the ball hard, but and you see there's a little bit of that slop, but basically Kansas City is a high fastball hitting ball club, and Oakland staff is very talented, but they're also very smart. They have a pitching coach, Art Fowler, who Clint Hurdle, who plays right field for Kansas City, said he's not going to let him throw pitches to our power.
And down goes White, chasing a breaking ball down and away. 2 down in the first inning. The resurgent A's, not only on the field but off the field. The team this season drew 1,000,003. And even with the strike figuring in and costing Oakland about a third of its home dates, that was a new Oakland all-time attendance record. George Brett, just 1 hit in 8 trips in this series, and as we detailed at the outset, all of the Royals' hits in the 2 games thus far have been singles. Swift foul, 0-1. If you're wondering if Kansas City is loose or tight or just what, put it this way. After they worked out here yesterday, the team got on the bus to go back to the hotel, which is not far. And Brett drove the bus back to the hotel.
Well, he just wanted to do something right. He probably knew where the Edgewater Hyatt House was. No, they were fairly loose. And this is a club that has a lot of character. They've been in 5 out of 6 playoffs.
Good change as Brett way out in front. I would think, Jim, for a hitter, as you look at Dick Hauser, it's tougher to face somebody changing speeds in the twilight than an overpowering pitcher like Ryan.
Well, exactly. The ball looks a lot grayer, and you can't pick up the spin. And also in this twilight, you have a sunny area between the hitter and the pitcher.
Fastball away. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count.
But, George Brett knows Rick Langford, and he's not going up there looking for a fastball in the middle of the plate, because if Rick Langford throws that type of pitch, he's going to get hit hard.
Brett hits it sharply on the ground, right to Moore, juggles, recovers, flips to Langford. 3 up and 3 down for Kansas City in the top of the inning after a half. It's the Royals nothing, and the A's coming up. At Oakland, no score going to the bottom of the first inning. Here's the A's lineup with Henderson leading off, Murphy hitting second, Cliff Johnson the DH, Armas 4 for 4 in game 2 and right. Mickey Klutz at third, the rookie Kelvin Moore at first, Mike Heath who caught game 1, batting 7th, Dave McKay at second, and in the alternating situation with Rob Piccolo and Brett Stanley who gets the start tonight at shortstop. The Royals infield, Akins, White, Washington, and Brett. The outfield of Wilson, Otis, and Hurdle with Watson back of the plate. And on the mound, Larry Gura, a man with a lot of playoff experience and a man not likely to be... Larry Gura. I spoke with him yesterday at the workout.
With the type of stuff you have, do you feel it's an advantage to work in the twilight?
I think it is. Any pitcher likes to work in the twilight because it's hard for the hitter to see the ball, and plus mixing the pitches up and varying the speeds on them, hopefully keep them off guard.
Larry Gura, his mark on the season. Gura had a sensational second half to the year. After the strike, his earned run average was 1.25. Pre-strike, 4.20.
He must have worked hard during the strike. Excellent pitcher, and he does what all good pitchers do. He keeps the ball out of the center of the plate. He has a pretty good curveball, fastball. He'll move it away, move it in, and he has an excellent screwball, or what they call in baseball vernacular is a scroogey. He'll throw that basically to the right-handed hitters. It'll drop away from him. Get a lot of ground balls from that type of pitch.
Ricky Henderson to lead things off for Oakland. Henderson, Murphy, and Johnson at the bottom of the inning as Ricky takes on. Henderson has drawn a blank in this series. He is 0 for 9. And the Royals, figuring if Henderson went 0 for 9 in the first 2 games, they should be in pretty good shape. That's anything but the case right now. 1-1. They've done a good job keeping Ricky off the bases, but...
Well, he's helped him, too. He normally makes you throw a lot of pitches. He wants you to get the count to 2-2, 3-2, and he's been swinging a lot of first balls. They've been making good pitches on him, and he hasn't hit the ball particularly hard in this series.
2-1 the count.
In fact, they were kidding with him that he's doing everything that he didn't do during the season. And when you hit 319 and you're up there and runs scored and base on balls, and you can steal a lot of bases, which he can, for him to help this club, he's got to get on base, and he's got to make the pitcher throw a lot of pitches.
You saw Ricky Henderson's mom looking on as Henderson takes outside for ball 3. 3-1 the count.
And behind the plate, we have an umpire, Steve Palermo, who both of these pitchers are control pitchers, will make you throw strikes. You don't get the ball off the corner. When he calls a strike, it's usually a good pitch.
Henderson is aboard. So Ricky reaching for the first time in the series. And the man who led the American League in stolen bases with 56 this season.
Number 21.
Aboard with nobody on, and Wayne Murphy, the batter. Murphy with 2 hits in each of the first 2 games. That's not Keith Drumright. That is Wayne Murphy standing in here, who hit .251 during the regular season with 15 home runs and 60 runs batted in.
Not doubt if we'll see Henderson running until at least they get one out. Otherwise, they take away the advantage of having the first baseman holding Henderson on. And you can see from this picture that he'll be throwing right out of that sun. So it's got to be difficult to see.
Henderson goes. Murphy lifts a fly ball to left field. Willie Wilson underneath it as Henderson gets back. One down. So Ricky still at first base, running on the pitch, and up comes Johnson. Left the DH. Played in Game 2. Keith Drumright was the designated hitter in Game 1. Johnson's marks on the season, second on the club in home runs to Armas.
Of course, he's watching Larry Gura to see if Ricky Henderson, being the base runner that he is, he knows his idiosyncrasies out there, and this would be a good situation for him to try to run.
He doesn't, and Johnson foul tips it into Wathan's glove. 1-2. 1-2 pitch. Ricky goes, gets a great jump, swung on and missed, and no throw necessary. Wathan didn't have a prayer. Henderson was halfway to second by the time Gura delivered.
Well, a lot of times with 2 strikes, you concentrate on getting the hitter out, and here you'll see the jump that Henderson gets. He just goes on the leg kick, and with his speed, he can outrun the baseball.
Wathan just eating it back of the plate, so Henderson at second base. With 2 down, Tony Armas, the batter. Armas with 5 hits in the 2 games, 4 for 4 with 2 singles and 2 doubles in Kansas City on Wednesday. Came out of that game late because of a recurrence of a slight groin pull, but he's fine tonight. 1-0.
There you can see the high fastball of Tony Armas. If you're going to have a scouting report on Tony Armas, he can hit the mistake breaking ball anywhere. But if you're going to throw him fastballs, preferably up in the strike zone and on the inside part of the plate or just off the plate. And that's what Larry Gura does. He'll come inside with the fastball and then try to get you out away.
3-2 pitch, hit back through the middle, and White backhands, picks it up as Henderson comes home, and then his throw is offline. So Oakland takes the lead when White was able to stop it from going through. As he recovers cleanly and makes a good throw home, he probably gets him. But his throw was toward first base, and the A's take the lead.
Well, here you just see a curveball. It's hit up the middle. This is why White wins all those Gold Gloves, knocks it down. I mean, this is a difficult play. Has trouble. Ricky Henderson's going all the way. The throw is a little bit offline. I doubt if he would have had him anyway, but the play would have been close at the plate. But this is one thing, Al, that speed, I mean, you just can't defend speed. You try to do it, very difficult to defend.
So Oakland on top 1-0, and Mickey Clutch is the batter. Clutch hitting it high in the air to left field. Wilson drifting back on it. And Willie puts it away to retire the side. But in the inning, the A's come up with a run, a hit, leave 1, end of 1, 1-0. Oakland will return to Oakland after this word from our local station. In Stadium this afternoon, Philadelphia winning at 6-2. The Expos committing 4 errors. Larry Christensen was the winner and Ray Burris the loser. So Montreal still on top in that series, 2-1, and the Dodgers stay alive at home, beating Houston 6-1. Bert Hooton beats Bob Knepper. Steve Garvey and Art Howe hit home runs, and the Expos lead that series 2-1. So as play began today, all the series 2-0. Both National League teams staying alive, and we'll find out about the Royals and the Brewers tonight. 1-0 Oakland, second inning. Willie Aikens the batter. Aikens, Otis, and McRae. Line to left field. Henderson moving back, engages it, and makes the catch. Rick Langford has retired the first 4 men he has faced. And Amos Otis coming up.
Number 26, Amos Otis.
Oakland 27 over 500 in games, as you can see, in which they scored the first run, and In Game 1 in Kansas City, they took the lead in the 4th inning, never looked back. Game 2 took the lead in the 1st inning. Kansas City caught him in the 5th, but the A's won that one. And a run here tonight in the 1st. Otis 0 for 8 in the 2 games.
And this is the kind of guy that's going to have to come through for you. He's going to have to get on base. Stole 16 bases, can get the base hit and steal a base for you, make something happen.
0-1. Langford looks none the worse for wear, Jim. He was running in the outfield Wednesday during batting practice and was hit by a drive off the bat of his roommate, Rob Piccolo. Some initial concerns. Said he felt fine yesterday and looks to be no problem tonight.
No, he's going right after the hitters, and Aikens hit the ball hard, but that's what you have outfielders for, and he's going right after Amos Otis. And Amos is not swinging the bat well in this series. 0 for 8, as you said. The other day he had a pivotal bunt play that he couldn't execute, and turned out to be a big play for the Royals.
0-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. 2 strikeouts for Langford. Perfect type of pitch really to throw 0-2. Don't give him anything good and get him to chase it.
Well, exactly. It was a little bit out of the strike zone, and I've seen Amos Otis for years, and you think that you can consistently get him out with 1 pitch, and then you make a pretty good pitch, and he can hit the ball hard. He just doesn't seem to me that he's seeing the ball very well, and when hitters go into slumps, that's what they'll say. I'm not seeing the ball well. I can't pick it up out of the pitcher's hands.
You can see from that low home shot, get an idea of what it's like for the batter with the shadow problem at this hour. Off the leg of Langford, rolled down to Moore, but off the bag at first base, and McRae is on his way to second, and McKay has to eat it at the first baseline, so McRae pulls in at second, and they'll immediately rush out and check out Rick Langford. Trainer Joe Romo with Billy Martin in tow. Langford taking a shot off his ankle.
Well, Hal McRae hits the ball as well as anybody right back up the middle. That's why he hits for such a high average. Looks like a slider. You can't get to a ball that low and off your ankle. And this is probably one of the first breaks the Royals have had. And as it turns out, McRae has enough speed to get to second base.
So an infield double for Hal McRae as Joe Romo, the Oakland trainer, freezing the area here.
And this could be a key injury, mainly because it's the foot you push off with.
Take another look here from center field. And as McRae makes solid contact, whistles it back through the middle.
And it's just a slider out over the plate. Hard to react on a ball. You really kind of want to get your foot out of the way. And it looks like Kelvin Moore is going to field the ball and just tag first base, hits the bag, and McRae's on second base.
Langford will take some warm-up pitches. Even if a pitcher continues under such circumstances, Jim, what happens 2-3 innings down the line after a play like that?
Well, I can go back to the 1970 playoffs. They had a left-handed hitting catcher for Minnesota named Paul Ratliff. He hit a ball off my ankle, almost went into their dugout for a ground rule double, and I ended up pitching 9 innings, having 12 strikeouts. But I think I was so pumped up, and it hit me in a similar place where Rick was hit, except it was on the left ankle, not the foot that I push off with. And
meanwhile, just in case, Tom Underwood going in the bullpen. So Langford ready to continue as Clint Hurdle stands in. McRae at second base, 2 down, second inning, 1-0 Oakland. A strike. Hurdle 2 for 7 in the 2 games.
For what you were saying, anytime you get hit with a line drive, they put the ethyl chloride on it. You don't really feel it, but as the game progresses, it does get a little bit tighter.
In the dirt, Heath keeps it out in front, prevents the advance, and takes it off his bare hand. McRae holding at second. 1-2.
And that's a device worn by a lot of hitters that they'll take that low breaking ball that's low and inside, and they just try to pull it. And sometimes they do right off their shin or their ankle. It doesn't help your speed very much. Clint Hurdle is not, as he said the other day after messing up that fly ball in right field, known for his speed.
looking. On the inside corner, down go the Royals. No runs, an infield double, leave one. Middle of the second, 1-0 Oakland. In Oakland, Al Michaels with Jim Palmer. Bottom of the second inning coming up. 1-0 A's. Getting the run in the bottom of the first were late tuners in. Ricky Henderson with a walk. Stole second. Came in to score when Tony Armas bounced a single off the glove of Frank White. Was able to make it home safely. Moore driving on to center field. Amos Otis drifting back and has room to make the catch. So the rookie first baseman giving it a ride. And as we mentioned, that fence is 3 feet further in than it normally would be. Kelvin almost hitting it out.
Well, Amos, ball doesn't usually carry very well here, but instead of getting back, just kind of lets the ball play him. But he is an excellent center fielder and makes the catch. That was a pitch right in Moore's power out over the plate, and he hit 31 home runs, so he has some power.
31 in the minors. Bouncing ball to third by Heath. Brett throws him out. So quickly, 2 down in the bottom of the second inning. And up comes Dave McKay. George Brett, remember that collision in Game 1 with Willie Wilson? Down the left field line in Kansas City, came out of that with a very sore hip. There was no question that he was still hurting in Game 2 on Wednesday, though they didn't make a big issue of it. And the off day, I think, helped him.
But also playing on grass, I think, is easier for George because most of his errors are made by erratic throws. He doesn't play as deep here in Oakland as he would in Kansas City. On the turf, you maybe play 3 or 4 steps back. And the bad throw he made in the first game was on a throw that just was a little bit short. Has a strong arm, but just, like I said, sometimes a little bit erratic.
1-0 on McKay, who has been Oakland's everyday second baseman for about 5 weeks now.
And he homered off Larry Gura on Sunday to win the ballgame.
Hit 4 during the regular season.
Right. And on that particular pitch there, you saw a fastball just took a little bit off it. Kind of the screwball type, turned it over, and it goes away from the right-hander. And Larry Gura has excellent control. Averaged under 2 walks a game this year. Both he and Rick Langford are going to throw a lot of strikes tonight.
2-1 the count. There was a celebrated incident a few years ago when Gura pitched for the Yankees and Billy Martin took over. Billy losing faith in Gura, according to Larry anyway. He was happy to get out of there.
Well, he got traded in May, and I guess Billy had taken over the year before. He just didn't have a chance to pitch. You know, he's a fierce competitor, likes to be out on the mound, and obviously his feelings were hurt when he didn't have that opportunity.
Dave McKay draws the walk, and so McKay goes to first with 2 down. And up comes Fred Stanley.
Number 11, Fred Stanley.
Fred Stanley 0 for 4 in Game 1. Rob Piccolo, the shortstop in Game 2. Throughout the season, Martin has played one man one day and the other man the next.
You see the pickoff throw from Larry Gura. Nothing fancy. He's just keeping McKay close. The thing you want to do over there is just not let him have a running lead.
Hit sharply toward the hole. Backhanded by Washington to White. Nice play. Ewell taking a base hit away from Stanley and getting the force as the A's are done in the second inning. So at the end of 2 at the Oakland Coliseum, still A's 1, Royals nothing. Another look now at the fine play by Ewell Washington to get the Royals out of the inning.
Well, it's a fastball down the middle of the plate. This ball would be through in Kansas City on the turf. He goes to the right, which is the most difficult play a shortstop has to make. And the fact that Larry Gura held the runner so close probably had a lot to do with Ewell Washington being able to throw him out.
Bang, bang play at second. And Jim Evans there to call it. So we go to the third inning at Oakland, 1-0. A's on top. John Wathen UL Washington and Willie Wilson, 8, 9, and 1 hitters, facing Rick Langford. Langford takes it on a hop. One away. UL Washington coming up. The switch hitter who tailed off considerably offensively this season. Hit 225 during the regular season.
Well, this was his first year where he really, or really his second year he ever played regularly. And, you know, he's a good athlete. But I think what happens is the pitchers around the league get to know him a little bit better. And it just makes it a little bit more difficult to have those back-to-back good years.
He's enjoyed this part. Washington chops down on it, hits it to short. Fred Stanley takes care of him. And there are 2 down. It'll bring up Willie Wilson. In the top of the 3rd inning at Yankee Stadium in New York, there's no score in the game between the Brewers and the Yankees. The Yankees taking 2 in Milwaukee and needing 1 to wrap it up. Willie Wilson lined out to Langford in the 1st inning. 1-0.
Obviously hits Langford well.
It's been a tough night already for Mike Heath. He can afford to grin at least here.
Well, he tried. And here's just a fastball he turns over, tails away, and he hits the top half of the ball right down on Mike Heath's foot. Again, like I said, that's why I never was a catcher.
1 off the hand, 1 off the foot already.
But that's why Mike Heath plays as hard as he does. I guess things like that don't seem to bother him.
Tough and very instrumental in this ball club's success this season. Wilson hitting it in the air to right field. Tony Armas is right there, and Rick Langford has started by retiring 9 of the first 10. Royals gone in order, middle of the 3rd, 1-0 Oakland. Ricky Henderson will lead off, sold 100 bases in 1980. An unusual philosophy. I talked with him earlier.
On the Royal staff, who would have the best pickoff move?
To tell you the truth, I don't really know a lot of pickoff moves. I try not to study them so well, so I couldn't really tell you who got the best pickoff move.
Well, that's interesting. Most base stealers really make it a science to watch the pitcher, to learn their moves. Are you saying that it doesn't matter to you what sort of a move a man has?
No, it doesn't. I try to just watch the man real close and, you know, pick up certain little things that I see that I can pick him to get a good jump off of.
Huh. That's the way Brock and Wills used to do it.
Well, he's still awfully young.
Henderson looks at his strike.
Just think how many bases he's going to steal when he learns how to do it.
And when and if he gets the green light someday all the time.
Well, he must have got the green light a few times last year to steal 100. I mean, 56 this year.
Henderson drew a walk in the 1st inning. Base hit to left field. So Ricky, with his first hit in the Western Division Series, he stole 2nd in the 1st inning and then came in to score on the infield single. So his speed instrumental in the only scoring thus far tonight. And up comes Murphy.
And once again, they have Henderson on, and a lot of things can happen. They have a lot of options now, and that's what you want as a manager. I'm sure Billy Martin realizes that now he can hit and run, he can bunt, he can use that right field hole for Murphy. Great opportunity to score. I know when your right-handed pitcher is out there, like myself, when Henderson gets on, he has a good chance of scoring.
They pitch out, but Ricky's not moving. Gura throwing over there. Ricky, in stealing 2nd in the 1st inning, got a great jump off Gura. The placid one, Dick Hauser, still looking for his first victory in postseason competition. Last year, the Yankees going down in 3 straight to Kansas City. when he was at the New York helm. Throw to first base. They have it picked off. And in a rundown is Washington. Throws to Akins, and behind him, backed up by Gura. And then Washington cuts that throw off. That was something that was happening to Henderson a lot in the first half of the season. He was getting picked off. And the Royals had him dead and couldn't execute.
Well, he just goes on the move, and they try occasionally to outrun the throw to second, but Henderson realizes that he can't do that. It's just a bad throw from, I think, from UL Washington. There's the first move. Henderson's gone. Willie Akins makes a good throw. The throw coming back is low. Gets by him, and Kansas City's just not executing. You can't believe how many hours you work on rundowns in spring training.
So Henderson at second base when they had him dead. Nobody out, and 2-1 the count on Murphy.
And of course here, Dwayne would like to hit the ball to the right side and move Henderson along to third for Cliff Johnson. Would have him on third base with only one out.
Murphy bunting. White shoveling and throwing it by Akins as Henderson rounds third and comes in to score, and it's 2-0 Oakland. Not the most artistic drag bunt you'll ever see, but it gets the job done. And the strains of celebration emanate from the public address system as Oakland takes a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the third.
Well, here's Kiney pops it up, but he happens to get it right in between everybody. Frank White, who comes in as fast as he can, makes a bad throw. Again, speed making him hurry. Ricky Henderson didn't run all the way, but when he saw the ball go by first base, and here you see the bad throw, Henderson's just about at third base now and keeps going to score.
On the pickoff play, UL Washington gets an error. On that last play, Murphy gets a bunt single, and then White gets the error to allow Henderson to score from third. Murphy at first base with nobody out, and Cliff Johnson at the plate. Johnson struck out of the first. Pops it up. Wathan will have a play. And drops the ball on a sky-high pop. So the roof is caving in the third inning for Kansas City. John Wathan unable to handle the sky-high pop off the bat of Johnson, so Cliff stays alive. And they have given Wathan an error, so there are 3 errors in the inning already. 3-2 on Johnson, nobody out.
2 runs here, Al. I would think that the only reason he'd be running is that they don't respect Wathan's arm, because you have Tony Armas, your best RBI man, coming up, and you'd hate to have Cliff strike out here and have Murphy thrown out to kind of take you out of the inning. There's no doubt that the A's fans are in the game. It was obvious that the Kansas City fans just were kind of waiting and seeing what was going to happen.
Not a whole lot to cheer about back there. 3-2 pitch, they send him, and it's lined in the left center field for a base hit. Murphy on his way to third as Wilson's throw comes into second, and Murphy is held up by Boyer and has to scramble back to the bag. So the A's trying to break it open in the third inning, lead 2-0. First and third, nobody out. And Tony Armas coming up.
And here's a ball just out over the plate where Cliff likes it. I really believe Murphy could have scored, but with nobody out, they're not going to take any chances. Wilson makes a nice play to hold Johnson for a single.
Murphy coming round third, and then seeing Clete Boyer holding the hands up, and Boyer
A little help
with a gentle assist. I don't know if he made contact or not, but he came awful close. Gets back to the bag in time as the throw comes into second base. Meanwhile, Billy Connors, the Kansas City pitching coach, goes to the mound. And in the Kansas City bullpen. Activity as Rennie Martin is throwing here in the third. If this series were to go to a fourth game tomorrow, Kansas City would come back with Dennis Leonard. If the fifth game is needed on Sunday, they go back to the rookie Mike Jones. When you're down 2 games to nothing, though, it's Gura and Staff tonight.
Exactly. And Larry seems to be struggling. He hasn't got any defensive help. And this is what Oakland baseball is all about. You can call it Billy ball because they've used speed this inning. And here's the guy that maybe is a contradiction to that because hit 22 home runs this year, 35 last year, and make a mistake to him and the ball leaves the park in a hurry.
Infield double play depth. The pitch up high. Ball 1. 1-0 the count. He's behind now. 2-0. Now 3-0. Mickey Klutz on deck. Armas looking at a strike in the count. 3-1.
Because when you get behind good hitters, they can go up there with a very positive attitude. They can look for a pitch that they want. When you're getting your breaking ball over and they don't know whether you're going to throw them a fastball or curveball, and you can change speeds, basically what Langford has been doing tonight, makes it very difficult to hit. Just don't know what's coming.
Armas hitting it deep to left field, but hooking and going foul. So Tony got a good pitch to hit 3-1, but drives it foul well back into the seats, and the count now full. Inside, the bases are loaded. So in the inning, the single by Henderson, and they had him picked off, but the low throw by UL Washington enabled Rickey to get to second. Murphy bunting for a base hit, and White shoveling it past Akins to allow Henderson to score. Remember, Johnson was given new life when Watson couldn't handle the foul pop, and then he singled. Now the walk to Armas, and the batter is Mickey Klutz. Infield is up at first and third, and back at short and second. A's 2, Royals nothing. Bottom of the third. A strike to Klutz. Bases loaded with Murphy at third. Johnson at second. Armas at first. And at the plate, a man who came up only 48 times this season because he spent much of it on the disabled list and yet struck 5 home runs.
Well, Gura would like to pop him up here or strike him out, and I would say a pop-up's more of a likelihood.
0-2 the count.
Brooks Robinson always said the most difficult pitch to hit was the one up and in with 2 strikes, and the ball is really not that close. Just kind of slides in, and of course this is a tough situation for Larry Gura, and Mickey Klutz, of course, is kind of diving into the plate.
You saw Mickey's wipe. The 1-2 pitch to Klutz is swung on and missed, and a big strikeout for Gura. 1 down with the bases loaded. And now we can get out of the inning on a ground ball as Kelvin Moore comes up.
If they catch it.
Yeah, that's the key point.
That's the key to that.
The rookie Kelvin Moore came up in late August. 0-1 the count. And Murphy at third. As we set the runners, Johnson at second, and around at first, Armas.
And if you do come up in a bases loaded situation, you want a guy that you can strike out. And Kelvin Morris is a strikeout type of hitter. He looks like he either goes for the home run or he strikes out. Has excellent speed, but earlier in the game, with nobody on, Gura just threw him a fastball out over the plate. He hit it deep to center field, but here he's in a situation where he can strike him out. He's a perfect man for this situation.
Missing high, same pattern as with Klutz. Got ahead 0-2, wasted 1. 1-2 with Moore now with Heath on deck. Struck him out, turned it over. 2 big strikeouts for Gura.
excellent changeup low and away. And that's the way anybody that throws a lot of fastballs wants to have an off-speed pitch, and threw him the fastball away and for a ball and came back with a pitch that looks similar, except it goes down and away. Kelvin Moore again swung right through the pitch.
Mike Heath, the batter. Heath grounded out in the second inning. Missing away. Gura, in essence, Jim, in my estimation right now, just single-handedly trying to keep Kansas City in the playoffs, because a big inning for Oakland. And
well, he gambled. He gambled. After Johnson got the single, he pitched around Armas, hoping he could get the next 2 hitters out, and he did it. But this, of course, is a key batter, because for them to win, he has to get Mike Heath out.
Bouncing ball foul outside third. If you can go back to your own dugout knowing you've given up 3 singles, a walk, and made 3 errors in an inning, and the other team only scored once,
you have to be pretty pleased.
You have to be thrilled. Keep the game close.
Well, you not only physically keep it close, only 2 runs back, but psychologically.
Yep.
What a lift it gives your ball club. And, of course, Rick Langford's probably sitting on the bench saying, boy, if we only get 2 runs, I better go out and get these guys out.
Steal at home being attempted here, and the call, he's out at home. Dwayne Murphy trying to steal home, and he's caught. So in the inning, as we look at it again, the A's settle for just a 1 run.
And he goes. It's something they try quite frequently, haven't been as successful in 1981. He's trying to beat the pitch to the plate.
And
he's out.
When have you heard these totals? 1 run, 3 hits, 3 errors, and 3 men left on in the inning.
Again, breaking on the pitch. Wathan makes an excellent tag, gets the glove right in front of the plate.
And the Kansas City Royals are still alive, and as much as Larry Gura was able to work his way out of some trouble, striking out a couple with the bases loaded and nobody out, and then Dwayne Murphy cut down at the plate trying to steal home. It's 2-0 Oakland as we go to the 4th.
And we have the 2nd, 3rd, 4th hitters up. If Kansas City's going to get something going, here's a guy that's been there since 1973. He's been in all their playoff championships.
White looking at a strike. 0-1. 1 hit thus far for the Royals. That's a line drive by McRae back off Langford's ankle. Loop into left center field, and White is aboard with a base hit. I think that's an essential point that you made, Jim, in the bottom of the 3rd inning in regard to the fact that if they could get out of that last inning, just giving up the 1 run, it gives you a lift. It has to, even though you're still in the game.
It certainly does, and as I said, I know as a pitcher, when your club, the other club does something like that, you want to come out and get the first hitter out. And you know, White didn't hit the ball very well, but this is one of the few situations where they've had Brett up, a man on. You have the runner being held at first base. You have the hole for George. You have the meat of your lineup coming up. And also you have the 2nd time around, and the 2nd time around for a pitcher sometimes can be very difficult. The first time up, they don't know what you're throwing. They don't know how well you're throwing. They don't know they know what he throws, but they don't know if he has a good curveball.
You can see the middle of the Kansas City order and the frustration they've gone through thus far. And Langford in arrears now, 2-0 to Brett. Pops it up, back of 3rd, and Mickey Clutch is there. Now Stanley comes over, and it's Stanley making the catch. Mickey nervously getting under it, and Fred with a better angle on it, calling him off the play and making the catch.
Well, again, the shortstop has the best angle, and he's over there just in case. And Fred Stanley, of course, being a veteran player, is there to make the play. And Langford made a good pitch. You have to maybe question the fact that in that situation, it's a kind of a cat-and-mouse game. You want to throw that hitter a pitch away, and he'll maybe try to pull it, hit a double play. George did not get a pitch that he could hit to the right side and take advantage of that hole.
Langford taking care of Brett, who is now 1 for 10 in the series. Willie Aikens, the batter, fly to left in the 2nd inning.
they've basically pitched around Willie this whole series. They've had the opportunity. They probably have to pitch to him here. Hit the ball hard the first time out to left field, and can hit home runs that way. He crushed the ball way up in the seats over the exits in batting practice.
Low and inside on the count, 1-1. They've been pitching around Akins, and they've been handling the man who follows Willie. Amos Otis is on deck, and Otis has drawn a blank in 9 trips in the 3 games thus far. Rick Langford, the man you can normally count on to go 9 innings. Langford led the American League in complete games this season with 18. Last year he went all the way 28 times in his 33 starts. To Akins is lined into right field for a base hit. White, round second, takes a glance back at Armas, who has a great arm. The throw is there, but too late. Willie Akins, after fouling off a couple, 3 and 2, drilling one to right field, and the Royals with runners at first and third, and Otis coming up.
It's just a 3-2 curveball. Willie hits it hard. White is running on the play, and here you see Armas's arm. Didn't exactly hit the cutoff man, but Willie Akins is not much of a threat to take the extra base. And here's Frank White, excellent speed, going all the way, and Armas makes it relatively close.
So the Royals runners at first and third with 1 down, and Amos Otis, 0 for 9 in the 3 games, struck out in the second inning. Runners, White at third and Akins at first. Klutz is at the edge of the grass at third, but Stanley and McKay are at double play depth, with Moore holding Akins aboard at first. Ball 1, 1-0. 1-1 the count. 1-2.
There you see a sinker away. It just seems that Amos Otis is pulling off the ball. In other words, his left shoulder is flying, and when Amos is hitting well, he hits the ball to right field as well as he does to left, and he's obviously can't be seeing the ball very well.
1-2 pitch coming up to Otis. Just got a piece of it. Heath can't hang on, so Otis is still alive. 1-2. Amos in a slump in this series, but in the 3 games in Kansas City against Oakland over the weekend, last weekend that ended the regular season, Otis was 7 for 13. 2-2 pitch. Reaches out, hits it down to Stanley, shovels to McKay for 1, back to first, not in time, and the Royals get a run. Otis 0 for 10, but gets credit for a run batted in as the Royals get on the board here in the 4th inning.
Just a low slider. Amos doesn't have much of a swing, but it's a high chopper, and with his speed, there's no way you're going to double him up. Just a routine, really, force. McKay takes a shot. Fairly close.
2 down, Otis now at first base. A's ahead 2-1. Al McRae the batter. McRae lining it off at Langford's ankle in the second inning. Then the ball hitting first base, rolling down the line. Wound up with a double. High for a ball. 1-0 the count. 3-2 pitch is grounded down to short. Stanley over to Moore, and that's that for KC. A run, 2 hits. Leave a man after 3.5. Oakland 2, Kansas City 1. And here in Oakland, the Oakland A's lead the Kansas City Royals 2-1 as Oakland tries to make it a clean sweep. Royals very fortunate to yield only the 1 Oakland run in the 3rd inning, committing 3 errors in the inning. The A's had 3 hits and a walk. But Larry Gura was able to work out of it. by striking out a couple, and then they nailed Dwayne Murphy at the plate on an attempted steal of home to keep Kansas City in the game. The Royals getting a run in the top of the 4th inning. We go down to the bottom of the 4th inning. Heath, McKay, and Stanley facing Gura, bottom 3 of the order. Heath grounded out in the 2nd inning, 0 for 1. It's a high drive to deep left center field. Otis is going back and reaches up to make the play. So Otis twice now has been driven to the barrier in left center.
Very difficult to hit a home run here at night. The ball just kind of getting in the middle of the warning track. And Heath hit it very well. When you hit it out to the power alleys in this ballpark, the ball does not carry. It's maybe a little bit better in the daytime. To really hit a lot of home runs, you have to hit the ball down the line here.
Dave McKay, the batter, walked in the 2nd inning. 1-0 the count.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Larry Gura settle down now or start pitching the way he can, which is to move the ball and get the ball down in the strike zone. A lot of his pitches have been up so far.
2-0 the count. McKay 2 for 8 in the series. To deep left field and down the line, and that one is gone. The Coliseum rocking in Oakland. Again, the strains of celebration. They've been playing that a lot this year here. 3-1 A's. The other day, McKay was 4 homers during the regular season, all of them no-doubters, and this along those same lines.
Well, here's the 2-0 fastball. Larry Gura doesn't throw well enough to get behind batters 2-0 and throw it down the middle, and he hit that ball awfully well.
3-1 Oakland. Fred Stanley, the batter. Stanley hits it softly but foul. Now the lineman left, and the count is 0-1.
And again, Al, you'll see another pitch up in the strike zone. Larry Gura just can't do that. Oh, he can do it, but he's not going to be successful.
It's foul off to the right, and the count is 0-2.
And there you saw him throw a fastball down and away, which is how he has to pitch. The ball that Heath hit well to center field was down in the strike zone. You can pitch down and away. You can be successful almost anywhere.
Checking in time. Delapille won't get the call. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Chant of "Let's go A's," provoked by Crazy George, the unofficial team cheerleader. 2-2 the count. There he is. You've seen him before. He's been the unofficial cheerleader, I guess, for any number of teams in any number of sports. Began his career, so to speak, in soccer with the San Jose Earthquakes. Stanley hits it high in the air to deep left center field. Willie Wilson goes back and makes the catch. We've had about 750 feet worth of outs, and then the booming home run by McKay. Wilson, I think, was hit by something that was probably thrown out of the stands with that chain link fence.
George is asking Larry if he knows how to throw a sinker. Again, that was another high fastball, and of course Fred Stanley is not a home run hitter.
So 2 down. You can see Wilson in left field. Willie just now moving back to his position in left. Obviously something came either over the top or through the chain link fence at him as he made the play. Ricky Henderson, the batter, has walked and singled. Foul away. Henderson. Wilson, you can see the dampness on the back of his uniform. Somebody probably threw a drink out at him. Henderson with a base hit in the third. His first hit in this playoff series. Rookie 1 for 10 in the 3 games.
And he should get a fairly good pitch to hit here because I'm sure Larry Gura wants him to hit the ball.
To center field, Otis charging in, but has to play it on a hop. So Henderson, who had drawn a blank in games 1 and 2, has walked tonight and singled twice. And that's the 6th hit off Larry Gura.
And that will get some action down in the Kansas City bullpen. It looks like Rennie Martin.
Again, Dwayne Murphy will be the batter. Gura has not been a mystery in this inning. He's driving Otis to the fence. The homer by McKay. The drive by Stanley. As you look at Martin in the bullpen. Henderson with a base hit. And Dwayne Murphy, 1 for 2. Coming up. And it's still 56 bases during the regular season. Drilled into right field, base hit. Henderson can fly, and the ball goes all the way to the wall. So Rickey being waved in round third. Here comes the relay from White. It's cut off by Aiken. Murphy beats the throw from Willie to third. It's 4-1. Dwayne Murphy hitting it sharply to right field. Hurdle was over toward right center. Still should have been able to cut the ball off.
Kind of around. Murphy can pull the ball, but basically they play him out in right center. I know Amos Otis was shading him to left center. Again, Hurdle, not known for his speed, gets to the ball, but if he cuts it off, they have a chance to maybe hold Henderson at third, but he's not able to do that.
So a triple for Murphy. And Oakland on top 4-1, and that's going to do it for Gura. Hauser making the switch. We'll see Rennie Martin. We're in the bottom of the 4th. It's 4-1 A's. We'll be right back. Rennie Martin comes in to pitch for Kansas City. Larry Gura, who pitched so masterfully in the 3rd inning to keep Kansas City in the game, comes unglued here in the 4th. The 2 outs in the inning on drives to the barrier in left center field. The A's have scored twice in the inning, lead 4-1. They have ruled it a double for Dwayne Murphy in third on the throw. He is at third with 2 down, and Cliff Johnson, the batter, has struck out and singled. A strike to Johnson, 0-1.
There you see Rennie Martin's excellent curveball. Of course, Cliff Johnson's not a piece of cake for right-handed pitchers. I know he played against myself many times. You know, a lot of the other right-handers on our ball club. Probably why he hit 17 home runs, had the opportunity to play against pitchers from both sides.
Johnson laying off, and the count is even. 1-1. There's Gura on the Kansas City bench. Larry giving up a run in the first. 1 in the 3rd, and driven out here in the 4th inning. Grounded to the left side, UL Washington throws him out, and the inning is over. But the A's come up with a couple of runs. 3 hits, leave 1. Go to the 5th inning at Oakland. 4-1 A's. Hurdle will lead things off for Kansas City as we go to the 5th inning. It'll be Hurdle, Watson, and Washington. 7, 8, and 9 hitters against Rick Langford, who survived a shot off his ankle in the 2nd inning, has yielded a run, 3 hits through 4, hasn't walked a man, and struck out 3. Hurdle struck out in the 2nd inning. Blew it by him. 0-1.
It doesn't seem that line drive off his ankle seems to bother him at all.
Not at all. 1-1. Is that something, though, that occasionally does stiffen up on you as the innings go on?
Yes, but normally it either hurts so much you can't pitch or you're able to get through the ball game.
Line to right field for a base hit as Armas gets it back in. Clint Hurdle delivers his 3rd hit in this series. The Royals with the leadoff man on for the 2nd inning in a row, and up comes John Wathan.
As you said earlier, Mr. Langford usually finishes what he starts. Doesn't always win those games. I think last year of the 28 complete games, his record was like 17-11.
Softly hit into right field. That drops in for a base hit. Hurdle stopping at 2nd. So the Royals trying to bounce back. Have runners at 1st and 2nd with nobody out in the 5th inning. And that'll bring up Washington. The bottom of the order has been relatively productive for Kansas City in this series. Hurdle has 3 hits. Wathan has 3 hits. And UL Washington has a couple. They've had very little problems down low. The problems have come in spots 3 through 6 in particular with Brett. Not necessarily Akins in the sense they've been pitching around him a lot, but Brett, Otis, and McRae, your 3, 5, and 6 hitters.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bunt here. You sacrifice them to 2nd and 3rd, and you get a base hit, you're right back in the ball game. And Washington only a .227 hitter on the year.
They're aligned for the bunt. Heath fielding, but foul ball. It's a foul ball. So the runners will go back as Heath argues the call with Steve Palermo, the plate umpire. Steve Beard, Tom Underwood. Throwing back of Rick Langford. UL squares. He throws down a 2nd. They nail him. That is the last thing in the world the Royals needed at this point.
Well, there you saw Mike Heath's strong throwing arm. Perfect throw. Probably one of the toughest plays for a base runner. He didn't really bunt through the ball, but you're trying to get to 3rd, get a good jump, and perfect throw. Trying to get back again, as we said, Clint Hurdle doesn't have that great of speed. I think he wishes he was a little bit faster right here. Perfect throw, nice tag. Take you right out of an inning.
1-1 pitch is up and in. 2-1 the count.
And again, he's going to get a good pitch to hit here because the last thing Rick Langford wants to do is walk UL Washington.
Reaches out. It's a soft liner to short. Watson returns to 1st. 2 down.
Just a fastball that runs away. Not too good a swing. Been right off the end of the bat. Right to Fred Stanley.
2 down, and Willie Wilson coming up has lined out, flied out. 2 for 11 in the series. Somebody blowing taps. Maybe a little early for that. Well, the Royals can't seem to get out of the quicksand. Hit by Moore into right field for a base hit. Watson will stop at 2nd. No way you're going to test Tony Armas's arm in this situation.
Exactly. And again, the game is a lot of times a case of big ifs, but if they do sacrifice them over, there's 2 runs, and it's 4-3 with Willie Wilson on first base in a steal situation, except now, of course, we have 2 outs, runners in 1st and 2nd.
And it was Otis the other day who couldn't lay down a bunt in the 8th inning. Game 2. A's holding on to win that one 2-1. 2 out, 2 on. Frank White. 0-1 the count. In the 3rd, and blocked by Heath. And the count 1-1.
And again, you see why Oakland wins games. They Not too many people have heard of Mike Heath. He made an excellent throw earlier entering the pickoff hurdle. There he does what a catcher's supposed to do. Gets out, blocks the ball, keeps it in front of him.
And he made the big play in this inning by picking Hurdle off second.
Exactly.
Line drive, base hit into center field. Murphy charging it. They are going to hold Watson at third. So the bases are loaded. White with a solid single to center. Watson is not fast, of course, and Gordy McKenzie putting out the stop sign as Murphy charged, and Billy Martin will go to the mound. So in the inning, the Royals with 4 hits, but no runs.
Well, they've done everything but scored, and it's kind of a dangerous play on Murphy. I don't know if we're going to see it again. He charged the ball. The ball gets by him. Obviously, a couple of guys are going to score, but what it's done, like you said, they've had 4 hits, and nobody scored yet.
And Brett will be coming up. So Martin on his way back. Check in briefly with Jim Lampley for a report on the Yankee-Milwaukee game.
Jim Lampley in the studio in New York, top of the 7th in Yankee Stadium. Milwaukee comes back to tie the ball game. Ted Simmons, in his first postseason action ever, bangs this home run off Tommy John to get Milwaukee back into it, tied up at 1-1 in the 7th. Back to Al Michaels.
So the Brewers have rallied from arrears as the Royals are attempting to do here. Kansas City with the bases loaded, 2 down, and Brett the batter, 1 for 10 in the series. Off-speed pitch, missing high, ball 1, 1-0. Bases are loaded with Watson the runner at third. Wilson away to his lead at second. White off first. 2 out, 5th inning, 4-1 Oakland. Brett gets under it and pops it up, and the A's will get out of the inning. The second baseman, McKay, making the catch. So Kansas City's nightmare continues. They lead 3 after 4.5. 4-1 Oakland. Looking down, the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Home of the A's, home of the Raiders. That, of course, to the chagrin of Al Davis these days, but they're still here. They call it the home of champions. They may have one this year. In baseball, 4-1 Oakland, the way things are going. A's trying to make it a clean sweep. Bottom of the 5th inning, Tony Armas, Mickey Klutz, and Kelvin Moore in that order against Rennie Martin. Armas has singled and walked and drills it foul. 0-1 the count. 0-2 pitch. Fouled away. Basically, what's been happening in this series, the A's are playing the way they played right at the outset of the season, won 11 straight, 17 of 18. The Royals are playing the way they played in the first half.
Well, that's true, and people just don't think that the A's have that good a ball club, but they're just so strong in crucial positions that I think a lot of times their strong points are really overlooked. For instance, their outfield, or Mike Heath, or Jeff Newman, who are the catchers, and especially their pitching staff.
Armas getting thrown out by Washington. There's the lineup tomorrow. NCAA college football, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 in the morning out here on the coast. Oklahoma against Texas. Then, if necessary, you'll see Kansas City against Oakland or Milwaukee at New York at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central, 1 Pacific time tomorrow. Mickey Klutz, 1-0 the count. Fly to left, struck out. 0 for 2 tonight and 1 for 5 in the series. Hit in the air to shallow center field. Amos Otis is there. 2 away in the 5th inning. Kelvin Moore coming up. Kelvin Moore, flied out, struck out. Bouncer to third. And Brett takes care of him. So Martin has an easy inning. The A's are gone. We've played 5, still 4-1 Oakland. And we'll be back after this message from your local stations.
I can tell a real cowboy from the drugstore kind, clean across Texas. The way he wears his hat will tell you. And the beer that you drink's a surefire giveaway, too. A lot of us drink light beer from Miller. We love the taste, but we surely appreciate that it's got a third less calories than the regular kind. You see, you don't want to be filled up when you're out there punching doggies. Ain't that right, cowboy?
I didn't punch that doggy.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
And here in Oakland, full moon and good crowd at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Looking on as their A's lead the Kansas City Royals 4-1 going to the 6th inning. Another night of utter and complete frustration for Kansas City thus far. Defensively, offensively, a chance to get right back in it in the 5th inning. Bases loaded. Brett popping out. The Royals in the 5th with 4 hits and no runs. Go to the 6th now. Akins, Otis, and McRae. Rick Langford has gone all the way for Oakland. Akins grounding it toward the hole. Off the glove of Moore. Barehanded by McKay. The throw to first is not in time. Good hustle on the part of McKay to get there and try to make the play and turn it into a relatively close play.
But he does. Moore just deflects it. McKay tries to barehand it, does. Again, you see Willie Akins not particularly swift, but hit the ball hard, and I'm sure that Billy Martin's got to be concerned because 5 out of the last 7 guys have hit the ball rather hard off Langford. Yet they don't have much to show for it.
Langford has given up 8 hits. 7 of them have been singles, and the double was a 120-foot double, as it turned out. Otis, the batter. 1-0 the count. Amos has struck out, grounded into a force. 0 for 10 in the series.
Of course, here he'd love to throw a slider out over the plate, low and away, have Amos try to pull it. Hit a hard ground ball at somebody, which seems to be what Kansas City's doing, and try to get a double play out of this.
Otis grounding it to third. To McKay, to Moore. That's exactly what he gets.
Instead of a slider, it's a sinker. Klutz making sure of getting one. There's a throw to second. Nice relay by McKay. And Klutz did the right thing. He got in front of that ball, making sure with a 4-1 lead, at least they get the out at second base.
2 down, bases empty. Hal McRae, the batter. Double, grounded out, 1 for 2. Hit down to McKay. Kansas City is done in the 6th. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left through 5.5 it remains. A's 4, Royals 1. Bottom of the 6th inning at Oakland. 4-1 A's. Heath, McKay, and Stanley coming up to face reliever Rennie Martin. Mike Heath grounded out, fly deep to center. Missed a home run by 2 or 3 feet. Inside, ball 1. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the A's under Billy Martin. 1 run, 8 hits, 3 errors for the Royals. All of the errors coming in the 3rd inning. Hit softly to Washington. 1 away. That'll bring up Dave McKay. This telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Dave McKay drilled one down the line and gone in the 4th inning.
And now we'll see him from the left side. Naturally a right-handed hitter. That's the book on Dave McKay. Just kind of flip up some curveballs. Not a very good breaking ball hitter from the left-hand side. When he used to be Toronto, he used to kill our ball club in Baltimore by just hitting fastballs. He finally wised up and started throwing a lot of off-speed pitches.
0-2 the count.
Good fastball, and that's that's what that breaking ball will do. Pitcher can get it over, certainly sets up the fastball.
Got him on 3 pitches. Tony Martin doing his job in relief. He has retired the 6 men he's faced. That's his first strikeout. And Fred Stanley coming up.
Well, Martin has an advantage because, or Rennie Martin does, because Billy Martin is not going to make a lot of changes. And primarily had a right-handed hitting lineup against Larry Gura. So he has some right-handers that probably haven't seen too much right-handed pitching this year. And Mickey Klutz and
Kelvin Moore.
Exactly. Well, Kelvin Moore probably saw some right-handers, but they weren't in the major leagues.
So a number of them at Tacoma. Playing every day there. 1-0 pitch.
They really feel that Kelvin Moore will be the first baseman of the future for them. Has all the ingredients of being a good player. Excellent speed and power. Pretty good fielder.
Since he's been called up from the minors, he's been alternating with Jim Spencer at first base, with Spencer going against the right-handers. 3-0 on Stanley. On deck is Ricky Henderson.
We might see Jim Spencer later in this ball game for defense if they keep this lead going into the 8th or 9th innings.
Oakland ahead 4-1, 2 out, bases empty, bottom of the 6th inning. 3-0 pitch, ball 4. So he strikes out McKay on 3 pitches and then walks Stanley on 4. And up comes Henderson. The Oakland Coliseum. This place was so dead a couple of years ago, players started referring to it as the Oakland Mausoleum.
When you come out here, Al, and on a weekday night, you'd have 2,500, 2,900, 1,900. Not exactly the greatest environment to play baseball.
Franchise was dead.
Even when the A's had their fantastic teams back in 71, 2, 3, and 4.
They didn't draw that well, all things considered. But the change in ownership, what they've done promotionally out here this year has been a miracle. The A's this season averaging better than 25,000 per contest. Henderson hitting the deck, and the count 2-0 on Ricky.
Steve Palermo, the umpire, am I still alive?
Woo.
Yeah, you'll see the crouch stance. Watch him kind of coming into the ball, and the ball runs.
How did he ever get
react? Yeah, he didn't react very well. Well enough.
2-0 the count. Ricky taking high. Martin has now missed with 7 straight pitches, and the count is 3-0 with Murphy on deck. Ball 4, so Henderson on his way to first base as Stanley trots down to second. In the Kansas City bullpen, right-hander is Rich Gale. The lefty is Atlee Hamaker. Throwing back of Martin here in the 6th inning. The A's runners at first and second, 2 down. Martin had set down 6 straight. Now all of a sudden, with a control lapse, walking Stanley and Henderson on 8 pitches, with Oakland ahead 4-1, and Dwayne Murphy coming up.
Again, I think we'll see here mostly curveballs, because that's the pitch to get Murphy out with.
In there for a strike, there's curve number 1.
Well, Martin knows, as I said before, he can't afford to give up any more runs, and I'm sure he did not want to walk either Henderson or Stanley, but he did it. And Dick Hauser did not have the left-hander up in time to bring him in to face Murphy, so Rennie knows he can't afford to give up another run, and he's going to probably try to make perfect pitches with his breaking ball.
Going inside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Murphy. 2-1 pitch. Ball 3.
There you saw the curveball. Again, I think he'd rather pitch around Murphy at this particular time and pitch to Johnson than to give in to Murphy. Not something you suggest doing, but when you're trailing 4-1 and you're down 2-0 in games played in the playoffs, you just can't afford to give up any more runs.
Crowd trying to rattle Martin, and the pitch is a strike, so the count is full. made ready to flip his bat away on a pitch that got the black of the plate.
Again, trying to make a perfect pitch, and just a fastball away. Murphy kind of laughs at Palermo as he starts down to first base. I think he knew it was a strike.
Full count. Runners will be going. Stanley from second. Henderson from first. The 3-2 to Murphy is nubbed foul.
And again, we'll probably see a curveball.
Runners go, and it's fouled away again.
What do I know? Fastball up and in.
Again, the 3-2 pitch. Murphy hits a bouncer foul outside first. So 3 times Martin's had to come in. And Murphy's fouled him away on 3 consecutive occasions. And again, Stanley going back to second and Henderson to first. Listen to that crowd. Called strike 3. So that will still the crowd for the moment anyway, as Martin escapes damage in the 6th inning. No runs, no hits. Another look at the pitch as the A's leave a couple, and we'll go to the 7th inning with Oakland leading 4-1. For Kansas City, bottom of the order, Hurdle, Wathan, and Washington. Hurdle 3 for 9 in the 3 games. 2-2 on Hurdle. Clint missing the better part of the season with back problems.
And again, we talked during the 2nd game. Clint Hurdle came up. Supposedly, the future power hitter of the Kansas City Royals. He's just not a good high ball hitter, and that's the pitch you have to really hit to hit a lot of home runs. He likes the ball down in the strike zone.
Pops it up. Stanley calling for it. 1 away. John Wathan coming to the plate. Grounded out and single. A's scored in the 1st inning. Ricky Henderson's speed paying off for that run. Picked up another run in the 3rd. Kansas City getting 1 in the 4th. And the A's adding 2 in the bottom of the 4th inning. To left to Henderson. 2 down. UL Washington. 0 for 2 tonight. 2 for 8 in the 3 games. The National League today, if you missed it, Dodgers stay alive, beat Houston 6-1, trail 2 games to 1. Philadelphia stays alive, beats Montreal 6-2. Shallow left field, Henderson coming on. Ricky takes care of this one, and it's an easy inning for Langford. 3 up and 3 down through 6.5. It remains Oakland 4, Kansas City 1. Bottom of the 7th inning at Oakland. 4-1 A's with Cliff Johnson leading things off. Johnson 1 for 3 tonight. Full rip and a miss. 0-1 the count. On Cliff.
Good hard slider. And talking about Cliff Johnson, obviously the very important acquisition for Oakland. Again, kind of a compliment to this man right here, Billy Martin. Realized the only true power hitter he had on the ball club last year was Tony Armas. Acquired Cliff from Chicago during the winter along with Keith Drumright. Hit 17 home runs for him.
2-2 the count. Of course, Martin not only wears the manager's hat here, but in essence, even though he doesn't have the direct title, the general manager of sorts, he's the man responsible for the trades, for the way the farm system will operate. More responsibility here than he's had anywhere else. Enlightened new ownership here in Oakland.
I go back to like 1962. Pitched a high school game in Scottsdale, Arizona, and Billy was scouting for Minnesota at the time. Thought I could make it as an outfielder, so I'm not so sure about his baseball judgment.
Popped up. Aikens waiting for it to come down. One away.
He also thought I might be able to make it as a pitcher. So.
Overall, Billy's got a pretty good eye. You can look at Martin and figure, well, here's a man who might self-destruct eventually. People have felt that's been the case in a few other places. But here, I think, anyway, it's a different story. Working for a man, he mentioned in our pregame show, Roy Eisenhart, the owner, or the president of the team, the Haas family, the owners of the Oakland A's, as it's fouled away. And the mix that they have here. And as I say, I think one key to Billy's success in Oakland, and why I feel he may be here a long, long time, is the fact that he is now responsible for the overall on-the-field operation. Popped up, foul ground, and Willie Aikens will have a play on this one. And the first baseman with both putouts in the inning. Two gone with the bases empty. And Mickey Klutz coming up. 2-1 pitch. Grounded to the hole. Nice pickup by Brett at third. And George takes care of him for the out. Fine play by Brett, and the A's are gone in order here in the bottom of the 7th inning. We'll move along to the 8th at the Coliseum in Oakland. Another look at George Brett taking a base hit away from Mickey Klutz. And at the end of 7 complete, still Oakland 4, Kansas City 1. And here in Oakland, as we go to the top half of the 8th inning, 4-1, the A's on top, with Willie Wilson to lead things off. Frank White and George Brett to follow. Inside for a ball. 1-0 on Wilson. 1 for 3 tonight. 3 for 12 in the series. Line drive, base hit to right field. That's the 9th hit off Rick Langford. But the Royals tonight have gotten the minimum out of the maximum.
Well, they have the right hitters coming up this inning to get back in the game, Al. Where they will, of course, is up to them.
Royals, of course, had their best threat in the 5th inning. Had the bases loaded with 2 out. Brett popped out in an inning in which Mike Heath made the key play, picking Clint Hurdle off second base with runners at first and second, and nobody out. The Royals in that inning with 4 hits and didn't score. The only Royals without hits tonight would be Brett and Washington, and also Otis. For the comebacker, Langford to second for 1, and that's all. Wilson makes sure that Stanley can't get the throwaway to first. 1 away. George Brett. 0 for 3 tonight. Brett hits it back through the middle for a base hit. White will stop at second. So Kansas City with runners at first and second, and 1 away here in the 8th inning. And Willie Aikens will be coming up. The Oakland bullpen active again as Billy Martin makes his way to the mound. Lefty Tom Underwood, righty Dave Beard.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Billy go to Underwood. You have one of the few guys on the Kansas City Ball Club that can hit the ball at the ballpark, which is Aikens. Of course, Langford, competitor that he is, might tell him he's all right, but
Martin, I'm sure, has it in mind what he wants to do right here. Palermo's going to come out to the mound to speed things along. Billy just buying some time, as it turns out, for the lefty. He's going to go to Underwood. So Tom Underwood comes out of the bullpen. The first time in the series that the A's have been forced to go to the bullpen. And the hand is for the departing Rick Langford. 4-1 A's in the 8th. Back in Oakland after this. Tom Underwood comes out of the Oakland bullpen to work on the left-hand batting Willie Aikens. Underwood got a start the last week of the regular season against Toronto and turned in his most impressive performance of the season, striking out a career-high 11. But, of course, in a playoff situation, you really only need, especially in a series with an off day, only 3 starters. So Underwood not ticketed for starting duty in this series. Martin with the luxury of utilizing him out of the pen, which he did
really most of the year.
Yep, during the season.
Has good stuff. Good hard fastball and a sharp breaking ball.
Akins is the batter and takes low, ball 1. 1-0. White is at second base. Red at first with 1 down in the 8th inning.
And Willie Akins can hit left-handers. You have to make some good pitches. You just can't throw the ball over.
1-1 the count.
And there you see that hard slider.
Ball 3. 3-1. On deck, the right-hand batting, Amos Otis.
Well, Willie's got Tommy in the situation where he wants him. Either he's going to have to throw him a fastball or he's going to have to come with a breaking ball.
In for a strike, and the count is full.
And he threw him a slider. Willie thought the ball was low. But as I said earlier, Steve Palermo doesn't call too many pitches strikes that aren't strikes. It makes the pitcher throw the ball over.
Full count, 1 out in the 8th. Down he goes.
Excellent high fastball.
Now Martin goes back to the mound. Amos Otis, the right-hand batter, will be coming up. And Martin's going to go to the bullpen and bring in young Dave Beard. Beard, just 22 years old. Otis, it's a high fly ball to center field, and the bullpen does its job as Murphy makes the catch. No runs, 2 hits. Royals lead 2 more. They've stranded 7 tonight. Middle of the 8th, 4-1 Oakland. Al Michaels and Jim Palmer in Oakland go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Anticipation building here at the Coliseum. The A's are on top 4-1. Oakland coming up in the bottom of the 8th with Moore, Heath, and McKay. And then when the Royals come up in the 9th, they have McRae, Hurdle, and Watson. Kelvin Moore, hitless in 7 trips in the 2 games. Rennie Martin in relief of Larry Gura with a breaking pitch, 0-1. Martin has been on since the 4th inning.
He's done his job, with the exception of the 2 walks. Pitched extremely well.
Fouled out of play, and the count is 0-2. Rennie hasn't given up a hit, but the story has been the Royals' inability to cash in all 3 games. Kansas City in the 26 innings, limited to just 2 runs. Foul tip, and Watson can't hold on.
Well, the Kansas City Royals hardly ever beat themselves, and they've just not been playing very good defensive baseball either, not to mention the offensive part.
Down to Washington. Oregon. 1 out in the 8th inning. Mike Heath coming up. Broken bat pop-up to short. UL Washington putting it away. 2 gone here in the 8th inning. And up comes Dave McKay. The Oakland A's in the playoffs for the first time since 1975. That was their 5th consecutive appearance. They finished 2nd in 76 and then just dropped out of sight. Charlie Finley tried to unload the team. Nobody cared. This was the deadest and dullest of places to be. Billy Martin took over last year. Team rebounded. This year, just 3 outs away from winning the West. A strike, 0-1. crowd will do. You've been in here a number of times, of course, James, when nobody else showed up. Crazy George.
Well, we've had a similar happening in Baltimore, where all during the late 60s and early 70s, when we had teams that were winning 109, 108, 101 ball games. I think the largest attendance we ever had was somewhere around 1.2 million, and all of a sudden in 79 we started having a young, exciting ball club hitting a lot of home runs, winning games in late innings, and people want to come to the ballpark. They realize how much fun you can have out there, and the A's are that type of club. They don't beat you with a home run. They can beat you with a stolen base or the squeeze play.
They'll entertain you. Bouncing ball down to Aiken, shovels to Martin for the out. Rennie masterful in relief, but the Royals still trail by 3. We go to the 9th inning. Oakland 4, Kansas City 1. Back in Oakland after this word from our local stations.
A reserve seat, please.
Right.
Oh.
And I suppose you came out here just to sit in your hands.
No.
Okay. Armison's up 3-1. Let's hear it.
Hey, go, Tony.
Come on, talk it up.
Out of the way, Tony.
Let's hear some chatter.
Way to watch him, Tony.
Come on.
This guy's got nothing, Tony. Make him pitch to you. That's not an arm.
Okay.
That's a noodle. That's a...
We'll give you a tryout.
The 9th inning at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. McRae, Hurdle, and Watson for Kansas City. Beard on in relief for the A's, trying to wrap it up. The A's trying to sweep the series, win the West, and wait to take on the winner of the Yankee-Brewer series. Hal McRae, 1 for 3 tonight, 1 for 10 in the 3 games. Beard trying to wrap it up for Langford. Underwood came on to get Akins a key out of the 8th, and now Beard in the 9th. Missing outside, ball 1. 1-0 the count.
And I would imagine Hal McRae will be taking a strike. Beard should know that.
He does. Hauser. McRae fouling it away. Off to the right, and Kelvin Moore may have a play, but no. The type of ball, when it leaves the bat, you're normally inclined to say, well, that's well back in the seats, but again, here in Oakland, with all of the room, you can't give up on it.
That ball was only 4 or 5 rows in. And we had a picture of Dick Hauser, and I'm sure that, of course, Dick Hauser, as all Kansas City fans, of course, the game is not over, have to be disappointed, but again, he took over the club in the middle of August, and they played very well for him. I'm sure he's looking forward to going to spring training next year in Fort Myers and having the club be his kind of club.
Nice man. Makes his home in Tallahassee, Florida. Waited for the right place, right time before taking the job at Kansas City. 1-2 pitch, got him swinging, 1 away.
And there you saw the Beard fastball. That ball was really thrown.
1 down.
Now batting, right fielder, Langford.
Dennis Lewin, our producer for this series, Ken Fouts, our great crew. Our thanks to statistician Alan Roth. Hurdle looks at a strike, 0-1. Crowd building again. Another celebration imminent here in Oakland. 0-2. Rick Langford, man who went through the 8th inning tonight.
Well, he struggled, but he pitched a fine game, didn't walk anybody. Made them work their way on. And that they did, but
0-2 pitches high, ball 1. 1-2. John Watson waiting on deck.
And Beard is the first relief pitcher in a number of years that really has an outstanding arm. And
popped up. Stanley going out. Henderson coming in. Ricky for the catch. 2 down in the 9th inning. Well, you have to almost live in this area to appreciate what's happening here right now. This is unbelievable. Nobody cared.
And you can see most of the fans. I mean, you see some older fans, but also a lot of young fans.
Absolutely.
And that's been the trend in baseball.
The team was about to be sold. Nobody seemed to care about that either. And all of a sudden, the rebirth and the resurgence, and here they are, 1 out away from the Western Division title. A pitch outside to Watson, ball 1.
And again, he'll be taking.
2-0 the count. Lee May has come out into the on-deck circle to bat for Washington. Should Watson be able to keep it alive? He's just trying to settle Beard down right now. Crowd on its feet. 2-0 pitch. In there. 2-1. Time called. The PA system has celebration queued up again. I'll grant you that. Foul away. 2-2 the count.
He's not pumped up.
40,000 on their feet. 2-2 pitch. The A's win the West. And 108 was their record 2 years ago, winning the West, sweep the Royals in 3, 4-1 the final, back in Oakland after this word from our local station.